Pekný podvečer, vážení priatelia.
Good evening, dear friends. A few minutes ago we returned from our trip to Brussels and Paris. I was not surprised by the nightly meeting of the European Council in Brussels. It was informal. It took a long time and it did not bring any conclusions. We have stated that we are interested in cooperation with the United States, that we support the territorial integrity and integrity of Denmark and Groningen, that we must be stronger to be able to cope with the consequences of new American foreign policy. A video conference was enough and we could save a lot of money. I will use the fact that one of the themes of the informal discussion was also the war in Ukraine. It came to light under the influence of the American unwavering interest in gaining Groningen. You know that I have a diametrically different opinion on the Ukrainian-Russian military conflict. However, I cannot ignore the suffering of civilians in Ukraine from the human side, who are exposed in the winter as a result of power outages. Therefore, it is correct that we are helping in this area in Ukraine. And only in January this year, we have delivered twice as many emergency power supplies to Ukraine as in the entire previous year. And as part of humanitarian aid, we are ready to help people in Ukraine manage the winter with other means. As I announced that my journey to the informal night summit was as effective as possible, I joined it with today's visit of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in Paris. It is an elite economic institution with only 38 members, and Slovakia joined it 25 years ago. Today was about the accuracy of the visit. I don't have time for this. Together with the Minister of Finance Lacom Kameniki, we came to offer representatives of the OECD a deep cooperation in finding growth measures for Slovakia. It is evident that at the level of the European Union, we will hardly move when it comes to increasing the competitiveness of the European economy. We have agreed to jointly prepare for Slovakia a bilateral plan to support economic growth coming from domestic sources. We jointly propose a strategy for how Slovakia should cope in a short period of time in a new quality geopolitical situation, how it should take advantage of the sovereign Slovak foreign policy oriented to all four world parties when obtaining foreign investments, and how to turn this short-term plan into a prepared vision and strategy for Slovakia's development by 2040, which the government has begun to work intensively on. There is no point in consolidating and shrinking just so that we have nice numbers. No one has found those yet. It is a fact that we cannot eliminate catastrophic consequences in Slovakia, which for our economy has the development of the German economy and the inability of the European Commission to offer a meaningful plan to strengthen the European competitiveness. On February 12th this year, we will have another informal summit on this topic. But I am skeptical because I do not see any interest in the European Commission trying to do something with the huge prices of electricity, which devastate Slovak and European economies. But that does not mean that we will sit idly by and will not use domestic and other than European sources for further economic development of Slovakia. The OECD visit was very successful from this point of view, much more than yesterday's informal European Council. I want to talk about this with my colleagues. Finally, one more specific information. On Thursday next week, I will meet bilaterally in Paris with French President Macron. The agenda of the conversation will be huge. I wish you a nice Friday and a restful weekend.
Ešte pekný piatok a oddychový víkend.